Don't mind the wet hair, just got out of the shower, but that's not going to perturb me whatsoever, as I'm going to finally wrap up and conclude the best, the worst, and the trashiest that anime has to offer of 2023. In this one, we're going to be breaking down the 10 best animes to come out of that year, respectively. I already have everything set up. You know the gist. Gonna be doing the honorable mentions first and going through the top 10 best animes to come out in 2023. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. And kicking off the honorable mentions, we're going to start off with a second season, of course, of Masamune-kun's Revenge R, to be specific. This is a show that has honestly been beloved and has garnered such a huge cult following among Masamune-kun no Revenge fans from 2017. And honestly, I never thought the show got a second season. Honestly, realistically, the show was on a really strong hype note that I thought that there's no potential that we'll get a second season because it was fun, it was great, it was perfect where it stood. But honestly, a second season of the show under the same studio, and they actually improved upon it tremendously and still maintain what made the first season special, is great, is amazing. So undoubtedly, this was definitely one for the books and definitely deserves to be in the honorable mentions. Up next, Demon Slayer Swordsmith Village arc. Now, yes, I know that I shitted on the Hashira Train arc not too long ago from 2024, and I've also been praising about the Red Light District arc. But look, my stance on Swordsmith Village arc in this case, and that I stand by to this day, even when I made my Demon Slayer tier list not too long ago, is that I think the show is a big step down from the second season. It's definitely not the worst compared to Hashira Train arc, but I will say the Swordsmith Village arc is a respectable and pretty enjoyable season, all things considered. And for anyone saying that the animation is a huge step down from the overall show because of the CGI fish scene, which, if you know what I'm talking about, they're fucking lying. Again, the animation quality of the show is still up there. It's still top tier animation. It's just that, again, they were meaning out the fuck as to why the show is just not good. Again, there were high points in the show and there's some low points. But at the end of the day, this just couldn't break into my top 10, unfortunately. And I'll leave it at that. Next, we have Insomniacs After School, a really amazing and honestly pretty underrated show about, well, insomnia and how we have two people who were unfortunately stuck with the good old trouble of insomnia and they have a hard time sleeping. So they decide to use that advantage and gaze upon the stars and talk about life and such. It's really good, it's really wholesome, and once again, a pretty underrated show that I feel like if you are someone that's going through insomnia, go check this out, man. This is like a pretty good and pretty okay show, honestly. Next, Hell's Paradise or Jigokoku. This one, honestly, realistically, when this show first came out in 2023, I remember this show popping off like crazy. This was one of the biggest hyped animes of that year. And unfortunately, I feel like this show really got overshadowed by another big MAPPA studio release that came out that same year, which we'll get into in a little bit. But Hell's Paradise was honestly a really good show. It's just such a shame that from all the details, all the storytelling that was being portrayed in this show up until the very end, it felt like they were lacking something to make it stand out or make it interesting. But regardless, this is still a nice, good, top quality show that, I mean, with a second season around the corner, it's no surprise that this show really is going to be on my radar when this eventually airs next year of the winter 2026 season. So looking forward to it, and hopefully it gets a lot better from here. But we'll see. Next, we have My Happy Marriage Season 1. Now, if for any hardcore people to watch my channel previously, you know that I wasn't crazy about the second season, unfortunately. But the first season is still really good. It's still pretty enjoyable, and at the end of the day, I would still recommend this show for those who are into this type of genre. At the end of the day, again, My Happy Marriage overall is a really good, pretty enjoyable show all around. All right, next we're gonna do a double back to back. We got Tokyo Revengers Tenjuku arc, and also simultaneously, which came out that same year, Tokyo Revengers Christmas Showdown. So Christmas Showdown came out pretty early in 2023, while Tokyo Revengers Tenjuku arc came out at the very tail end of that year. And honestly, realistically, between these two seasons, the Tenjuku arc is easily the strongest between the two, as it's a lot more stronger, a lot more darker. It honestly is able to encapsulate and really portray and talk about what has gone on with the Tokyo Revengers franchise up until this point. It's a lot more darker and intense compared to the Christmas Showdown arc, which, again, granted, this one was a lot more in the bubble and felt reminiscent of the first season more than this one right here. But either way, both of these seasons, respectfully, were really good. Again, I would prefer Tenjugo arc over the Christmas Showdown arc. And if we're gonna talk about the whole series as a whole, as of right now, I still prefer the first season of Tokyo Revengers that they came out seeing guns blazing with to begin with. But yeah, at the end of the day, both of these shows are really good. I would highly recommend watching both of them to get the full context of the story. Next, we have The Dangers of My Heart Season 1. Now, again, it comes to no surprise that I absolutely love and praise the hell out of the second season of the show when it came out in 2024. But the first season of the show, honestly, is really good. It's still high quality, top notch. It may not be as strong as the second season, but the first season of this show is still really good. It's still one of the better, stronger slice of life animes to come out of that year, and I'll simply leave it at that. Next, we have Mushoku Tensei Season 2. Again, the first half of this Season 2 was really good, but just unfortunately doesn't live up to the same quality as the second half of Season 2, and I'll simply leave it at that. Basically, it's just Rudy is trying to find his missing tool, if you know what I mean, and I'll just leave it at that. Zom 100 Bucket List of the Dead. This one honestly had so much potential to being like the next best zombie anime, and while it unfortunately didn't really stick the landing at the very end, when the show was airing at the time, this was actually really good and really strong of an anime to come out of that year. And personally, I think this is like a pretty underrated, another underrated anime that just doesn't get a lot of love at the moment. Because again, if we do get a second season of Zom 100, I would be super, super inclined to checking it out because they have Bug Film Studios really made something really special, and it's just such a shame that they couldn't keep the momentum up to the very end. But either way, this was still a really good, really enjoyable show. Next, we have Horimiya Piece, The Missing Pieces. Now, I'm aware that there is a lot of hate regarding the Horimiya 2021 anime that Cloverworks dropped that year, and that is understandable. But give Horimiya The Missing Pieces a shot. I think you will actually love the show for what it's worth, and it actually enhances the first season, the original Horimiya from 2021, much, much stronger as a result. Again, it's definitely not in the top 10, obviously, it's in the honorable mentions, but this is still a good quality show, nonetheless. And finally, to wrap it up, Blue Lock Season 1. And look, I know I've already said it already, but Season 2 of Blue Lock was pretty bad. We can all agree that this was a huge downgrade from the first season, and it's probably one of the worst animes of 2024. But the first season was still really good, still really enjoyable. Yes, this also came out back in 2022, but it got a lot better going to 2023. And that is basically it for all the honorable mentions, and I'll leave it at that. So now we're going to get into the top 10 best animes of 2023. At our number 10 spot is a show that I've already talked about pretty much in length already as why this was my best trash anime of 2023. And that is 100 Girlfriends Who Really, 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 Really Love You. This one, what can be said about the show that I've not already said from my best trash anime 2023? This show is amazing. This is groundbreaking. This is one of the best fan service animes of all time. It's one of the craziest, holy shit animes of all time. I've gushed over graves about the show so many times from my best trash anime of 2023 list. So if you want to know my full thoughts on this show and how I feel, please go check it out. I will not be able to regurgitate it once again when we talk about this, more or less. All right. And we move on though to our number 9 spot, a show that again it's not going to pop up here on Topsters, of course, but it is a Dan Machi season, which you would think that Dan Machi, oh please, not another Dan Machi season, but no, this one actually made it to my top 10. I'm not talking about this one right here that you see right now. I am specifically talking about Dan Machi season 4 part 2. This is without a doubt the darkest that the show has ever gone into. And for me personally, this is incredible. It is absolutely amazing. It basically takes all the problems that Damachi's been living with for years and actually just made it simple, but also just super heavy invested into why you should care about these characters. And for some reason, it actually reinforces everything that you know up until that point of the show, and they executed so well. Again, getting to know Belle's connection and Rio's connection and like what her background was prior to how Rio became a maid is so goddamn depressing, so heartbreaking. This is still a show that for me to this day is just so emotional to say the least. And while season five of Damachi tried to capture what made season four part two special, I think that this is still their best that the show has to offer to this day, man. It's really good. It's super dark. It's really tense, and it's really simple. And they just kept it to the basics of what made Matt Damachi special in the first place. So yeah, that will be my number nine spot. At the number eight spot, we have a show that I've already talked about in length, but I think you can already tell that with what I'm about to type here right now, if I can even spell it properly, Eminence and Shadows. No, no, not the first season of Eminence and Shadows, to be fair. I'm talking about Eminence and Shadows Season 2. This one, what can truly be said about the show already that I've not already talked about from my best trash anime of a previous year prior? Eminence and Shadows Season 1 is incredible. It is amazing. This is like the gold standard of how to make a fun, bad, trashy anime, but simultaneously making it entertaining and making it accessible for the mass audience to make you invested. Second season, while it's a lot shorter, it definitely just keeps on carrying the momentum all the way to the very end, and it just leaves me excited and wanting more from the show because it's really good, it's really hilarious, it's really stupid, and but also it is remarkably gorgeous. Like my god, the second season of the show is just remarkably gorgeous in every aspect of the way that you really want to be invested with every single character in this show from this point forward. It's good, it's amazing, and I'll leave it at that. At the number seven spot, though, we have a show here that is pretty big when it first came out, and this show really was not holding any punches when this bad boy came out, and that is Tengoku Damakyo. Hopefully, I pronounced that right because holy crap. This show is without a doubt one of the weirdest, craziest, and just holy shit shows you will ever watch that came out in 2023. And it's no surprise to why. Tengoku Damakyo is a show that really is not for the weak. There's really a lot of cool animation moments and a lot of musical themes and subject matters that are just really strong, really holds up really well to this day. And I think that in general, this is a one kind of show that is really hard to get nowadays. I think for a show that's going this post-apocalyptic direction, this really set the bar really high for shows going in this direction, and I'm really all in all just impressed with the show all around. And again, I could talk more and gush over grace about how great the show is, but I'll simply leave it at that as we got six more other shows I gotta talk about from this point forward. And number six is a show that blew up tremendously, and I mean tremendously when it came out back in 2023 because the first episode was an hour, well, actually 2 hours long. It was like a fucking movie, and the rest of the episodes were basically just regular episodes. And that's Oshinoko Season 1. Again, what can be truly said about Oshinoko that has been said already? This is without doubt the darkest depiction of the entertainment industry, all condensed into one anime show. Even though it was short, we did get a second season of that show, which I will also talk about in a future video. But Oshinoko season one still stands as like a holy shit moment that really was unlike any other show we got from this point forward. Again, the scenes in the show still hit, the voice acting still hits, the music in the show still hits, the connections to how certain things connect to the dark side of the entertainment industry is so crazy. And the story and the premise of where the show has started from the first episode up until now really leaves you guessing and wanting to know like where is it gonna go from this point forward. And man, given that season one and season two respectively have been really great, it's going to be interesting how the future seasons of Oshinoko is going to pan out from this point forward. But unfortunately, this couldn't make it to my top five because honestly, this is like a top five best anime of this year. Believe it or not, honestly, all of these shows couldn't make it, but there was five other shows that made it my top five spot, ladies and gentlemen. And the number five spot is a show that blew up tremendously when it first came out, just like Oshinoko, and just like 100 Girlfriends, and just like Tengoku Damakyo. And that will be, yep, Apothecary Diaries Season 1. This show is undoubtedly, unquestionably one of the greatest like storytelling shows ever, and also one of the most self humor type shows of existence. Again, I already talked about season two's Apothecary Diaries to the fullest, to the point where I almost gave that show a 10 out of 10 anime. And the first season was really the catalyst that really started it all. Again, you have characters in the show that you get to really relate to, a story that gets you hooked instantly, and every like little baby step pieces that happen throughout the show as it progresses makes you question and guess and wonder like what is going to happen from here. And yes, honestly, learning to know what an apothecary does for a living may be boring in concept at first, but this show, the way they talk about this show and they do it so well that it leaves you like forgetting that, man, I'm not watching a boring anime. I'm watching like a really great storytelling anime, and it does so really well, exceptionally. This is without doubt one of the best animes of 2023, and with season two ending on such a high, strong note, I have a strong feeling that this show in general is probably going to be one of the best animes of the decade at the moment. It's really good. It's super great. I can't sing the praises enough than I should. So yeah, at number four though is a show that's pretty underrated, and it actually took me a while to get to this show, believe it or not, because I didn't know it came out, honestly, and that's Pluto. Yes, Pluto, one of the most like holy shit animes out there. This show was amazing. 10 episodes, if I'm not mistaken. And if you're not familiar with Pluto's art style right away, Pluto's art style is literally based upon the same man who gave us the amazing and critically acclaimed anime Monster. Yes, that same guy. The main man himself who made Monster, this masterpiece of an anime that I consider a 10 out of 10 anime, and even a 10 out of 10 in manga in general. One of the greatest stories and villains ever conceived in fiction, and one of the biggest twists and turns that a show has to offer. And before that, we had Pluto, a show that doesn't get a lot of attention in nowadays, but when this Pluto anime first came out, when I didn't even know this came out prior, I was told to check it out because hey, this is definitely for those that if you all love Monster, you're gonna absolutely love the show. And honestly, I freaking love this show, man. It's so good. It's crazy that the story and like where the show leads into still holds up many years later too, especially when you've given like the current status of how the rise of technology has gotten. Again, there's so much symbolism in this show that will leave you shocked and awe as to the whole true meaning as to what Pluto is really all about. And oh, I'm sorry, 8 episodes. But either way, this show is absolutely incredible. This is definitely a must-watch show. It's honestly a shame that this show was really underrated when it came out that year. Because if I knew this came out that year, 2023, I think I would rate it even much higher than where it is now. But it's at the number four spot. I think it's high enough. But who knows? Maybe it could be way higher than what it is. All right, but at the number three spot is a show that from this point forward, a lot of people were non-stop talking about, and that is Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2, which, again, given the popularity of Jujutsu Kaisen at this point, what can truly be said about Jujutsu Kaisen that hasn't been said already? Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2 is undoubtedly one of the best shonen animes to come out of recent memory. This has not only one of the best animation to come out of any mainstream anime in general that year, but simultaneously this was broken up to two different parts to really set the stage of what was to come of the second half. And I gotta say, man, I understand that Mappa was going through some fucking shit with their animators and shit, but my god, Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2 is like their magnum fucking opus. Every fight choreography is amazing. The art style is crazy. The story, while it is hard to digest as you're literally just watching a fight scene occur every 5 minutes, not even 5 minutes, every like couple minutes, is still staggering considering like where the show starts, where it ends. And overall, like, undoubtedly, this is the strongest that the series has to offer, and it really did not hold any punches back. But simultaneously, given that we do have an up and coming movie, oh no, sorry, not a coming movie, but an upcoming third season coming out pretty soon, is leaving me more interested into where the show's going to go from here. Because I just don't know how can they top the second season, given that this was when it came out, like nines, tens, like best anime of the year contender. And again, I would honestly give this a 10 out of 10. And yes, I honestly would put this at the number one spot. But as I mentioned already with other stuff regarding Mappa Studios, it's like I can't give this thing a 10 out of 10 given the backgrounds to like what has gone on behind the scenes with Mappa Studios and how they treat their animators, unfortunately. But either way, this is like a grand achievement of holy shit, what the fuck did I just watch? And it's amazing. It's gorgeous to say the least. All right, but we go on to our number two spot. Number two is another show that actually has been breaking records as well. This is a show that really is like everyone's 10 out of 10 when this came out. This dethroned one of the biggest rung line shows that was number one on my anime list at one point. And if you know what I'm talking about at this point, it is Freeman. Oh, I can't even spell Freeman. My bad. God, I'm gonna get canceled, Ray. Freeman Beyond Journey's End. This is undoubtedly one of the best storytelling animes ever, and without doubt, this really has everything going for it. From the fact that this is under Madhouse Studios, this is a show that really just dives into characters that, again, after they, again, with a sort of simple as like after they defeat the Demon Lord, now what is our heroes going to do from this point forward? And it takes you on a journey where everyone that Freeman grows old, but because she is an elf, she never ages, and she basically ages the longest out of everybody else. And we get to see through Freeman's eyes like what she goes through as time passes on, and she starts to slowly but surely appreciate life and meaning and etc. So, Freeman Beyond Journey's End is definitely a show that unmistakably I would comfortably also give a 10 out of 10 as well. Again, I'll even show proof of it right here, right fucking now. But Freeman is, again, a show that respectfully, while I understand that this show has been getting a lot of slack as of late because of the fact that, hey, this is a Miami list number one spot, it surpassed Full Metal Alchemist, what the fuck? I honestly think that this is still like a must watch anime for those who want to get into anime in general. And Freeman Beyond Journey's End just encapsulated it so well when this first came out. And I couldn't really agree anymore as to why the show was so good and so impactful when this came out. And yes, even though this is my 10 out of 10 anime, this unfortunately couldn't make it to my number one spot. And the other shows from this point couldn't make it to number one spot either because that year was there was one show that stood out at the very top as the show that not only was one of the best stories ever told, but if you basically love the first season of the show, you're going to love the second season of the show even more. And to me, this felt like a true successor to what an anime show should be about. And of course, what I'm talking about is without a doubt one of the most underrated shows of the year, and that is Vinland Saga. More specifically, Vinland Saga Season freaking 2. Man, this second season of Vinland Saga is absolutely unapologetically incredible. I honestly now consider this like a masterpiece of storytelling and just character progression. This show is able to just successfully and awfully just pull off one of the greatest character redemptions and character developments ever witnessed in fiction, in anime. And I think they did it so well. From seeing where Torthine was from the very beginning to how he developed to this mature, humble, and just respectable fucking person, to another character from Noir, seeing where he started off and where he become. This show is gripping, it is enduring, and while it again, the show doesn't have a lot of flashy fighting like it did with the first Vinland Saga season, which is understandable. This second season is absolutely unquestionably incredible. Again, another show that was made by Mappa Studios, but again, it is once again a shame that like for a show this big, it didn't get a lot of attention. A lot of people didn't really brush the show as like, oh, this is Vinland Saga season 2, but it's a farming simulator. And no, it is way more than that. So even though I didn't give Jujutsu Kaisen the 10 out of 10 anime approval, and this wasn't at the number one spot, Vinland Saga season 2, I comfortable put at the 10 out of 10, and I put this at the number one spot because this show, to this day, and even to an extent the first season, is still iconic for me, is still gripping, is still amazing. And with that being said, that is going to be it for my top 10 best animes to come out of 2023. So, here, weep it, reap it, seep it. This is it. And yeah, just want to talk about the best, the trashiest, and the worst animes of 2023. And just know that in the future video, I'm going to probably do a redux of my best trashy and worst animes of 2024 when that eventually comes out. But yeah, just want to talk about this a little bit, and I'll see you all the next one later.